persuasive speech. First, I'd like to start off by asking a simple question, or just basically imagine yourself as this person. If you're in a huge rush and you need to get somewhere, so you're at your house, you go and you get in your car, and you figure you get on the highway because that's the fastest way to get to your destination. And then all of a sudden you're slowed down because there's an older driver in front of you who is just taking their time. And honestly, it's really frustrating. That's definitely happened to me before. And this is why I'm going to, this is what I'm going to talk about, is older drivers. I don't think that they should be allowed to have a license over the age of 80. So my purpose for talking about this is I've had experiences in the past where older drivers just are very detrimental to me on the road. And then for you guys will be old one day, so this is good information for you, and so you'll understand that once you're at the age of 80, just don't drive as much, or at all, because of my main points that I'll get to. And then I'll show my three main points, which are A, older people drive way too slow, B, older people are on medication, and C, older people do not have the mental or physical capacity to operate an automobile. Okay, so my first point, older people drive way too slow. Like I said before with that example, but now with something that's actually happened to me, I was driving from Dallas to College Station a couple days ago, and I have the shortcut that I like to go on. It's actually called Highway 79. Well, at some points it's only a one-lane road, so it's really hard to pass around other people, and I got stuck behind an older driver almost the entire way, and it was just really frustrating because they could have gone faster if they wanted to, and they were able to, but they just chose not to. And so that was just kind of annoying. But anyways, I was doing some research online, and I found through googlebooks.com this book called Transportation in an Aging Society, which basically has done research about older people and what happens to them with transportation. And there's this one interesting thing that they said was that older drivers appear to be overrepresented in automobile crashes at stop-controlled intersections and when executing left turns. So that relates to my point of how older drivers drive too slow. As an example, basically when an older, slower driver is trying to make a left-hand turn, and the light may have been green or yellow when they went, but they were going so slow that it turned red, and then it turned green for the other people to start going, that could easily cause a crash because they were going too slow and other people didn't recognize that it was a slow driver. Another thing that I found from 1-800-driving.com, which is basically a website that is devoted to talking about driving safety and how you can best keep your license. They found that about 37% of all drivers ages 14 to 19 involved in fatal crashes were in high-speed related crashes, but the percentage among drivers 70 and older decreased to 7%. Now that goes to show that younger drivers have wrecks with high speeds, but older drivers have wrecks in lower speeds. So hopefully that's making sense. And honestly, this day and age, it's just so fast-paced. Everybody is trying to get to where they're going in a timely manner, and it's just harder for them to keep up. So that's what I was talking about older drivers being too slow. Now moving on to my second point, I'd like to talk about how older drivers are on medication and how that can affect their driving. For example, my great uncle Harold, he is so sweet, but bless his heart, he is just getting older and older and more debilitated, and he is on medications that don't let him drive. Basically, the doctors have advised him to not drive at all because the medications would impair his driving. And so his wife drives him everywhere. And so that's just an example of why older people shouldn't be driving. And then I found on the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety website, which basically also dedicates themselves to researching about driving and then how it causes insurance problems. They found that many older drivers take medications which can impair driving ability at any age, but can be especially impairing for an older person because medications can much more easily affect older people. And so, now that I've talked about how older people are on medications, I'd like to talk about my final point, which is that older people do not have the mental or physical capacity to operate an automobile. Now, the most obvious reason for this is their eyesight. People just know that once you get older, you need reading glasses or just something to help with your vision. And I also found some more research from Medscape.com, which basically controls top current articles about new medical advances and surgeries. And I found in the eye department that there was a lot of information about cataracts. And basically, if you're 60 or older, you have cataracts. It's inevitable. And basically, it just starts clouding your eyes more and more since the day you're born. And it gets to the point where you probably need surgery when you reach the age of 60. Now, imagine how bad that would be if you reach age 80. It's just so bad, people probably have bifocals or something, and they should just stay off the road. And then I found, also, going back to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, another interesting thing that they said that several studies have shown that higher levels of physical, cognitive, or visual impairment among older drivers are associated with increased risk of crash involvement. So that goes from anything in the spectrum. Physical, cognitive, or visual impairment can hurt the way they drive, and it can hurt other drivers. An easy example of this is I walk dogs for two precious old couples who are about the age of 80. And one of them specifically, Mr. Ivanov, he's so sweet, but he can't really do anything on his own. I have to walk his own dog for him. And he even asked me the other day when I was at his house to pick up his newspaper because he just wasn't able to because his back is in such bad condition. And what scares me is that I have seen him driving off after I walk his dog for him, and that just makes me wonder, well, is that necessarily safe? If he's not able to pick up his paper or walk his dog, should he be driving? That could take a toll on himself as well as others. So, summing up my 3 points, I said that older people drive too slow, they are on medications that can impair their driving, and they don't have the mental or physical capacity to drive well. And a final thing that I found from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, they said that drivers 70 and older have higher insurance liability claims for damage to other vehicles per insured vehicle a year than drivers ages 35 to 69. So basically, it gets more and more expensive for them when they're driving when they get older. Any incident could cost them way much more than anyone younger than them, all the way to age 35. So it's better for them not to drive, it's better for us for them not driving, and it would just be a better environment overall if older people took more precautions and asked someone else to drive for them. And that's all I have.